Okay, sure. Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Madhurima Pitturi. I'm an immigration attorney from Pitturi Law. The reason to be coming in here, most of you already aware of the news which came in yesterday about executive action on the H1B. Before I even start, I just want to let you know, which you already know, obviously, this doesn't affect for the people who are currently in the United States. Okay, let's start from there. The reason is the session I just finished. All the questions went through the people who are already in the United States. Don't want to waste time, either my time or your time. We'll respect on each other on this. Let's start the session by saying that when this happened, why is this happened, or is anything can be done, who is going to be immediately going to affect, right? Well, the proclamation was released yesterday, right after the Bloomberg released the news article. Right after that, we have the White House release on the executive action on the H1B rule that saying that 100,000 additional fee needs to be paid by the employer per H1B petition per year. Every year, every H1B needs to be paid $100,000 unless there is an exception, right? We can talk about the exceptions later. I wanted to be more focused on the action itself. So there is two words which is highly was mentioned there. This is going to be affected for the new H1Bs and the people who are coming from outside the United States. Okay, even though it was not, a lot of things are not clear when you say that outside the United States, who are the outside the United States? Is it only for the new H1B people who will be starting the fiscal year, which starts on the October 1st, who has the lottery and going to be starting on the October 1st, or it is the any H1Bs who are re-entering into the United States. So when the proclamation looks like it is only for the people, it doesn't say, oh, is it for the all types of the H1Bs? All it says it's from the outside the United States and newly petitions. But when you look at the news report, I don't know how many of you watched the actual video when it was actually signed the executive action by the president. There was a news report, and then one of the reporter is asking that is it going to affect for the extensions, renewals, obviously for the amendments, any of those things. He did mention that it could affect for everybody, right? So it, even the proclamation doesn't stay particularly that who is it affected, which kind of the H1B, but there is orally mentioned that from the White House that it could be affected for all the H1Bs. So should we go according to what was written, what was told orally? I think that it will be all unfolded next few hours, especially for the people who are in transit. If they do end up landing after 12:01 a.m., which is next 5 hours, I think that we're going to see the first people who will be getting affected on this. Okay. So those are the two words. It's very specific, very thing, but they do mention that there are exceptions. I guess who is the exceptions? How are they going to look at the exceptions? I think that you need to apply for the waiver for the exceptions. They didn't give any instructions on the exceptions. Even if you have to pay $100,000, right? There is no instructions yet. Where to pay, how to pay, when to pay, all those kind of the things. I think we are very, very early right now. I think that all the focus is on the people who are got stuck outside the United States or the people who are in the transit. If you're in the transit, if you're landing before 12 o'clock tonight, I think that you probably might not get affected. Again, I'm only focusing on the executive action. I'm not going to be talking what could and would happen, right? Unless something is going to change in next 5 hours, any lower courts is going to stop this one, or there is any active litigation is going to happen, which is nothing is filed yet. I just want to let you know that no attorney, nobody is yet filed. There is a lot of things are in progress, especially the like a big hospitals and the big universities. Those kind of the people has an active talks right now. But not a lot of small IT companies, right? Obviously, none of them came forward to file the plaintiff as a plaintiff yet. So unless something majorly happening in next 5 hours, I think that this is going to get affected on the people who are in the transit or the people who are outside the United States. The period of this executive action is for 1 year. That means September 21st, 2025 to September 21st, 2026, which is a 1 year, unless it's going to be extended. These are specifically for the people who are traveling on the H1B stamping into the United States. If you do want to travel, either you need a waiver, which you need to be filed. We don't have instructions yet, or you need to have 100,000 receipt in the hand to show it at the CBP. Okay. And there's also a other thing which we don't have a regulations yet, but they do mention in the proclamation very clearly. If you are planning to come on a B1, B2 visa, and try to change the status to the H1B, they are going to issue a special regulations on that, especially focusing on the people who are going to be using this lottery results, which is going to start the H1B in next 10 days, starting from the October 1st of 2025. So they don't want the people coming on the B1 and do the change of status, because if you come on the H1B, you have to pay $100,000, right? People may use it to come by from the back door, getting on the B1, B2 and do the change of status later. They didn't give any specific instructions, but they do mention that they are going to issue something. So if anybody is planning, if they have already B1, B2 and they have the H1B approval, if you're planning to do the B1, B2 stamping as a method to come into the United States, I want you to double check on that. Don't know when the instructions are going to come, but seems like they already have a plan on that. So those are the major things right now with the proclamation. Please feel free to drop any questions, which I'm going to look into it. But I just want you to be focused. If it is you are in the United States on the H1B, just breathe. Okay, don't ask the same questions, because I did have that experience a few minutes ago in another group. Please don't ask any questions. You're safe for now. We can have one more webinar, I think probably Monday or sometime, so we can give some updates what happened in last 24 hours after the implementation happened, how it goes. But right now, if you are in the United States, don't have to be panic regardless of the what H1B you are in, and only request and advice, like any other attorney, any other human being at this point, don't travel unless it's an emergency. That's the only advice. So I think I might have covered all the important things regarding to the proclamation. Let me see anything need to be discussed on that. Then if not, I'll jump onto the calls. The questions. So these are going really, really fast, right? By the time we got the news alert versus the White House, and everything happened in less than few minutes, obviously, things are going fast. And you probably already checked the Department of Labor website, the firewall of the high skilled laborers are targeting on that. Unless you yourself is highly skilled national interest, or your company or entity is qualified for the national interest, I think getting through something like this, unless the lawsuit stops us, I think that it seems like it's going to be getting harder on the H1Bs, and not just 100,000 one time, 100,000 per year. So if this has no stoppage, no lawsuits, my biggest concern is that could affect for the people who are going to be in the United States for the H1B. They didn't say anything, again, the people who are currently in the United States, but if the regulation is going to affect for the people who qualified on the H1B couldn't travel, that could spread to the people who are already here. So, but nothing to be panicked right now. So just breathe. Whatever the status you are in, just make sure that you're continuing to stay that one. And there's a lot of because of the economy, there's a lot of job loss. I understand there's a lot of people who are in the middle of 60-day grace period, or middle of the change the employers amendments and all those things. Do continue to do whatever you have to do. And if you do feel like you're reaching to 60 days, or you don't think that the economy is getting better, do change to the status like a B1, B2, and you can always change back to the H1B. Again, all these things are based on how the regulations are currently doing. Okay, I'm not going to be talking anything what would happen next minute, but this is based on what's already existing. Okay, so it seems like a majority, like it's very targeting to the H1B lottery people who got selected are going to start their jobs starting from the October 1st, even though it is targeted like that, but it seems like it's going to affect for everybody who is traveling into the United States on the H1B stamping. If they're not here before 12 o'clock tonight, so we're going to see those are the first people who will be affecting how the implementation is going to happen. And they should be ready if there is any negative effects. Do they have to go back? I just don't want the people getting into the detention centers arguing for these kind of things unless there is 100,000 receipt. Again, if there is 100,000 receipt also, nobody can pay right now, right? Even if your employee is ready to pay 100,000 for you, there is no instructions where to pay, how to pay, right? And if they're outside the United States and if they're not in the transit, I don't encourage anybody to make any plans to do it. Let's see how things get unfold next few hours. Then maybe they can make a plans unless then there is no lawsuits, there's nothing happening, and this is the final order, right? For now, it's a final order. There is no if and buts here, unless something the courts are going to stop. This is final for now, which is going to implement in next 5 hours. I'm sorry, I keep saying 5 hours. I'm talking about next, I guess, 12 hours. So it's 12 o'clock tonight. Let me see any questions. I'm only going to take the questions which is going to be effective right away. So does it apply for the H4? If the H4 is outside the United States and the H1 is in the country, according to the executive action, no, it doesn't affect you. It only affects to the H1Bs. So I think there's a lot of questions on the H4. I think that's covered. There's a repetition question about the consular processing and everything. Again, as I said, that we are not going to talk about anybody who is currently in the United States or who is not under the transit right now. I travel to Canada using AVR. I have a valid. I don't want anybody traveling. Why do you want to travel to Canada? Again, a lot of questions. What if I'm in the United States? No, we're not going to talk about it because it's not going to affect you. H1B dependents who are H4, yes, you can come back. No, it's not going to affect the renewals, extensions. Um, any other visa other than the H1B, obviously you can come. Somebody asked about the L1 visa, H4s. Yes. Anybody who got filed here, no, it's not going to affect you. Is this going to affect for the H1B lottery for next year? We don't have any regulations for the next year lottery. They're going to be issuing 30 days before March 2026. So we have to watch that, how that is going to be unfolding on this. Even if your visa stamping is expired, you can still stay in the United States. You don't need to have the new visa stamping. You don't have to travel just for the visa stamping. As long as your I-94 is valid, you could stay in the United States. And if your I-94 doesn't match to the I-797, do go to the CBP office locally and try to get a new I-94 if there is a mistake at the typo in the I-94 which was issued from the last travel. Again, there's a lot of questions that I need to travel to India next month for stamping. There is no need to travel for stamping. It's not a mandatory that you need to have a valid stamping to stay continually in the United States. So a lot of questions is, does my employer has to pay $100,000 unless you are a you are you the you're going to provide the information that your qualifications, your job, or yourself, your skills will help the America. That means that a national interest, and it helps a national security, national interest, right? Like example, like industries like a defense, aerospace, biomedical, these kind of things, where you can able to explain that it's very necessity for the country to grow. It seems like this is highly targeted to the IT companies, right? They're telling that there is a lot of people more than needed, and they're not, a lot of them are specialized. They can be easily replaced with the people. Unless you can prove that nobody can replace my job. My job is very special. Nobody can do the job except myself. If you could prove that, you can get a waiver, you can stay in this country and don't have to pay 100,000. If you can't able to prove that an employer does need you, they have to pay $100,000. I understand a lot of people says that they may have a wedding for themselves, for their family, they have a vacation, they have this, they have that. Again, I don't know. You have to think about it. Which one is important? If you can manage, of course, but you have to think about it every time. Either you file the lawsuit in America, or if you have to travel and come back, you have to be prepared. You not being in this country, is it going to be a major difference for the economy, or for the country development, right? If you think that you're not going to, there is nobody else can replace you, I think that that's a easy answer for you. And there is also other proclamations which was actually was affected from yesterday, the golden visa thing, and there is also restrictions for the non-immigrant workers. They also proposed that if you can pay a certain amount of the money, you can get the EB1, EB2, and EB3 more faster. So I think that we are going to be discussing all that. We're going to do one more seminar or the webinar next few days through the groups and organizations. Will bring that up. Right now, today, I just want to focus only on the H1B proclamation. I think there's a lot of questions that is it effect for them, somebody who is in the United States. I don't know if the moderators want to pick the questions and just ask me, because just going through one by one question, it seems a lot for me. If you wanted to pick a majority or popular question, I could answer and discuss on that particularly.
Arigato, do you want to pick that?
Because most of them are repetition, and I just want even the audience feels very respectful on this, and don't do the repetition questions. If your question is answered already or it's covered in our discussion, let's keep it that way. And also, if I didn't answer the question, it seems like they like to keep pasting this same question over and over.
So Harigaru, can you please choose the questions for Madhurima Garu? If it is a repeated question, then please ignore it. Yeah.
Most of them are repeated questions.
Yeah, most
okay.
of
Can
them.
You please pick? Yeah.
And somebody also posted, my dad will arrive tomorrow morning. Will he arrive in USA? If he's not on the H1B, it shouldn't be affecting him unless your dad is on H1B.
Let me clear, I think, the questions, I think, which is unique. Let's just take a moment.
Yeah, please scan through the questions and see if there is anything unique. Yeah.
I mean, that I'm also doing, but I'm trying to pick the questions that is unique, because they're all same repetition over and over. Any change of status in the United States, any H1B changes, or from different visa to the visa, I think that you're all covered and you're good with that for now.
Yeah. So all the participants, there is another request. If you got your question answered, can you please leave so that people waiting, they can join and ask questions. So one more time, I repeat, if you got your question answered by Madhurima Garu, please leave the Zoom so that you can give seat for another one. Okay. So other participants can join who are waiting in the queue. Thank you.
Or do you just want to give the opportunity for them to unmute and talk? I'm only worried is because everybody talks at the same time. I'm trying to pick the questions which are unique,
We'll go for simple question. The one guy, Suresh Garu asking, If you have a stamping, can you go back? Can you go and come back to the US?
No, that's one I keep repeating, right?
The same thing.
You can have the stamping, but if you're entering by showing the H1B stamping, it would affect you. Most of them has stamping, obviously, right?
Yeah, stamping and US in H1. Okay, wherever.
Harigaru, please don't read out the names. Just ask the
Mm.
question, please. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm in transit currently, but still in India. I'm not really sure. I mean, that how are you in transit then if you're still in India? If they're not already boarded the plane, please do hold down, because I don't want to get anybody in risk of detention unless you're prepared for those kind of things, prepared to take the risks, prepared to go back. Unless you're prepared for all that, please don't board it if you're not already boarded. If you're not already in the flight and if you're not going to enter before 12 a.m. this morning, then I think that they should all hold down. A lot of questions are around the stamping. Stamping means nothing. Entering the country before 12 a.m. today or after 12:01 a.m. is what it matters. 11:59 p.m. And there is also a question earlier that what if the people get cleared before 12 a.m. today at Abu Dhabi, right? The people who gets a clearance at Abu Dhabi, that means that they are already cleared. So we are presuming that they're already considered as entry. So hopefully they're not going to have any issues because they got cleared out of it. A lot of people said that they scheduled to come back 22nd, 23rd. I know that from yesterday, the flights are all full, right? Even if you want to get in on time, you couldn't able to come, and it's not possible. And we do know that there is a three different groups of the people who are trying to get on the chartered flight and wanted to do it because obviously they all think they are executors. They are making the over the money, whatever the number you can think of. So they think that it's important for them to be here. People are trying to do the best they can to be here before the effective time. No cruises, please. There's so many questions on the cruise. If you didn't board, don't board. Um, I know it's probably they're telling that, oh, it doesn't matter the visa, the effect. I'll be in the cruise. I'm not going to get down. A lot of these questions. Let's not travel, guys. Why don't we all come into agreement? Let's not travel unless it's an emergency. At least can we hold on few hours, few days to see that how this unfolds. Things are going really fast with the H1B and the Labor Department. They're going, both of them working together very, very fast. And the
Okay.
ICE is hitting the companies very fast. This week, we have multiple calls from the multiple employers, especially the IT companies. The ICE is digging to them very, very clearly with the questions and the I-9s, E-verifies, all these things, making sure that if you're an employer, you are required to keep all these things for 3 years, even if you get fired them or so do be careful, even though it's not the topic of the hour we're discussing. Um, the execution is very, very fast right now on the employment-based visas, especially targeting on the H1Bs and the IT companies.
And guys, don't post same question again and again. Okay, it's kind of definitely will cover all your questions, but please, I kindly requesting you, don't post the same question again and again. Okay.
And again, a lot of people are asking, are they going to let the people in if it is after 12 o'clock? Are they going to send them back? It's all depend upon which port of entry, which the officer is. If they all have the regulations and the instructions was sent to them to due diligently 12:01 a.m., they have to do this. I think that it's going to affect everyone. Because it's going to be alert in all their systems. It's not about the stamping. A lot of people has the same similar question what I'm observing here. I do have a stamping. I shouldn't have be any problem to come, right? It has nothing to do with the stamping. It has nothing to do with the consulate. Nothing about the Department of State. I just want to let you know that yes, you do have the H1B stamping. That is not the question. If you have the H1B stamping, that means that you are entering as a H1B status. Okay, anybody who is entering as a H1B status, this is going to affect after 12 o'clock. Unless you have the receipt for the $100,000, which we don't know where to pay. Obviously, first of all, is the employer is ready to pay for $100,000 for you? That's the question we need to ask. If they do, where do they have to pay? No instructions are there. So if you're not in the flight, you're not going to able before 12 o'clock, just hold on this. People are asking, oh, they have the visa been interviews scheduled next few days. Can they go to the interviews? I think that why not? They didn't say anything about why you can't go to the interviews. There's a lot of questions here on the same person. He keeps saying that my dad on H1B will land Sunday morning. Will he be able to arrive in the United States or will he sent back? I can't tell you because the Sunday means after 12:01 a.m. on Sunday. I can tell, the implementation starts on 12:01. Yeah, it could affect him. I don't know. I think that if needed, also we're going to bring this webinar back again tomorrow. We will see, depend upon what kind of the reactions are from the community is going to see next few hours. Okay. Our phone will be on for anybody who wants to call during the night, only for the people who get stuck or in the detention center. Again, I want to tell you, if you are on the non-immigrant visa, which H1B is a non-immigrant visa, they're not going to give the right to counsel. Yes, you can keep my number. People ask me like, okay, oh, can they call? Can they do this? I can find out where they are after a few hours. I mean, that are they in the transit back? Or they got stuck somewhere? I can talk to the CBP officer with lot of things we need to go back. But the people who are coming back, they always say that, can I carry the G28? Can I carry your number? Can I carry your name? You can do whatever you want. To just want to let you know that CBP has no right to give the counsel for the non-immigrants. This came on a Friday evening, and obviously given the less than 24 hours, it's definitely very painful for the community. Let's show all of us the compassion, hold together. Nobody is great or less here, even though we are US citizens, permanent residents, we are indifferent visa. Nobody put anybody down. We're all together. Let's work hard. Let's see that if there is a possibility for the litigation, bring as many people as it is into it. It's not about business. It's not about the who is popular here, what is that it's going to affect at large our community, how are our kids are going to affect, how are our families are going to affect on the communities, and mostly the businesses especially, right? It was very targeted to our IT companies, which we kind of produce a lot of taxes and everything in this country. I think that we're all together in this. Let's work together. Whatever the news I have it for the litigation, I'm sure you're joining so many attorneys out there. I'm not telling that you have to listen to one to the other. I think that we are all in the same boat. All the colleagues are in the same boat. There's now more information than the proclamation says. All I'm telling is don't travel if you don't have to travel. If you're not already in the flight, I think it's too late. Just hold on. Let's see how the things goes. And there are people asking the question, if I bring the receipt, I'll be okay. Before you even ask that question to yourself, I think that you may have to ask that question to your employer. You may carry the receipt. Is your employer ready to pay $100,000 to you? I mean, that $100,000 to the immigration to bring you is a question you need to ask yourself. And remember, I'm not going to directly tell this one. Who is paying for the H1B is always matter. This is a big discussion for the over the years. Even the H1B, there are the consulting companies, there are the employers who could probably doing whatever they are doing it, right? Trying to pay this H1B visas, they are digging into it. They're going back years in years back. Nobody is exempted in this one. They're looking into the payrolls, they're looking into the back statements, both the employer and the employee, not just running the payrolls. They're digging into the every step and every level of it. There are so many of them were sent back last few months in different airports, especially some of the airports like Chicago, especially the new thing is in Atlanta. We see a lot of people who were sent back from Atlanta, and they were asking straight questions: how much percentage your employer is taking the money, who paid for the H1B visas, who paid for the ticket, all these things. Not just saying orally, they're all recording it. They also want the proofs of these things. So be careful how you're doing what you're doing. Everybody thinking that 100,000 is such a easy thing. Where can I pay? When can I pay? Can I get the receipt? All those things. I think that it's a serious conversation. Is the employer is going to invest for each employee $100,000 per year to get you in this one? Especially the prevailing wages are going to go up in few days or few months because they wanted to have high skilled labor with a high salary to get on this H1Bs. Anybody who is in here like a students, different visas, H4s, H1s, anybody who is in the United States, it's not going to affect this one. This is only affect for the people who are coming travel outside the country, and this is going to be in effect starting from 12 o'clock tonight, and this is going to be affected for 1 year unless it's going to be extended. That means that they probably doing as a trial base, or they were going to extend. We don't know yet. Are they going to stop overall by in 24 hours? Maybe the court may stop all this. We just have to watch on this one. For now, this is going to affect 12 o'clock tonight, and it's going to be effect for next 1 year until the September 21, 2026. So people are also asking about the questions on the I-140. You may have the I-140 if you're still on the H1B and you are traveling. Yes, that could affect you. If you're not traveling, regardless you have the I-140 or no, that's not an effect for it. So people are asking about non-IT field. It seems like even though the target is about the IT companies, it's not only to the IT companies, guys. It's target against the H1B workers, right? You need to prove that you are extraordinary ability. You have to get a waiver for the national interest. I don't know how many of you know the EB2 NIW. You need to prove that you have a national interest waiver. So it's a similar kind of the conditions could apply for the H1B national interest. We don't have a regulations again. They said that exceptions national interest. So we don't know how the national interest can be proved, but there it could be in general the NIW says you have to be exceptional to prove that you need a waiver. So doctors could be a national interest waiver, obviously, because there is a very scarcity in this country. They are high skilled, obviously, doctors and a lot of the industries which is more in demand, or there is a lot of job vacancies are there. Those kind of jobs probably, once we know the regulations, we can get around on that, on the national interest. H1B got picked this year. Are they going to affect it? Everybody going to get affected if you're there outside the United States. I want to keep it to the conclusion straightforward. If you're in the United States, your H1B got picked. If you're a student, you are on the different visa. No, it's not going to affect. You can do the change of status. You can start your H1B. If H1B got picked, if you have a stamping, not stamping, if you're traveling after today, that is going to get affected. And don't try to come on the B1, B2 because they are going to issue the regulations on that. If you're planning to come on the B1, B2 to avoid to pay 100,000, they are going to issue the regulations on that if you want to come on the B1 and do the change of status to the H1B. Anybody who wants to file any kind of the petitions in the United States, you're fine. A lot of repetition questions. Sorry, guys. Trying to cover the bottom point is the same thing, right? If you're in the United States for now, you're fine. You can breathe. Just make yourself busy this weekend. Let's see how things goes on Monday. They've done very strategically this one when you look into it, because they left the proclamation with exceptions, right? So if you do qualify in the exception, you don't have to pay $100,000. They're very clear on that. Moderators, do you see any questions that I didn't answer? I know that it's a lot going around.
Yeah, I think you covered most of the questions, Madhurim Garu. I know there are many repeated questions, but you covered a lot more. Yeah, almost.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of them are repetition, right?
Yeah.
And this is other question a lot of people asked earlier. If you have the previously H1B approved under consular processing, right? Especially a lot of the STEM students and the OPT students got the H1B approved year or the year before, and who are on the consular processing because they want to continue to maintain their F1 status, you don't have to. Anybody is not required to go to the stamping and get the H1B approved, right? You can just do the change of status from the F1 to the H1B under the new employment under a cap exempt, because you already counted under cap. You're going to be under cap exempt. You don't have to go through the whole lottery again, right? So go ahead and change the status if there is an employer available for you, and they don't have to pay $100,000 right now because they're not coming from the outside the United States. Before it changes anything, hopefully that helps you. Yeah, I mean that it's the same questions around. If you're not in the flight, anything, we can all wait to see what's the changes are going to come. If somebody is in the flight, obviously they're not on the webinar, right? It's very simple, Okay, unless somebody wants to pick these questions, I think that I might have covered most of the important topic here. Unless somebody want to unmute on the question, but I'm worried about the unmute because everybody's going to jump on the same thing. But I do want to let everybody know that if your question is answered, please be respectful. Let's listen for the people who are unique. Please don't repeat the question. Moderators, you take it from here, how you guys want to take it. I am available next few minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Madhurim Garu. Let me go for any questions here. One sec. Anybody have any questions? Please raise a hand so that we can cover those questions also.
Hari, if you want to unmute, so one by one, one at a time, and they should not be taking their names. They can just ask the question, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to answer any
just
questions.
straight ask the questions, no introductions needed, no hey, he, which is very common. That's the other thing I get annoyed so much, Just respect professionally, You don't have to call me Madhurima Garu or Miss Paturi, nothing, but just don't call me hey, because I don't call any of you hey, okay?
Okay, let's go with
Before you unfold the question, again, I'm going to repeat to everybody, if you're in any other status other than the H1B, yes, you can come into the United States. If you're already in the United States, it's not going to affect you regardless what status you are in. Keep in mind these two things, whatever the questions you're going to ask.
Yeah, I'm going to unmute one by one. Whoever raise a hand, just go ahead and check that one. Okay.
My question is regarding H4. If somebody is coming back next week with valid H4 stamp, based on my understanding, they should be fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I wanted to know about golden visa. Like, do you know, like, if we do apply for golden visa, would it come under EB1?
Oh, they're doing all the EB categories. Yes, we are going to talk about it. I think in next couple of days, we're going to do the webinar on that. Right now, we're just focusing on the H1B proclamation. Yes,
Okay.
there is a need education on that. I am going to come back on that.
Okay.
And like if someone is on F1 and their lottery gets picked in next year, like so, then what's the like? Then even then, the employer needs to pay 100,000.
If they are entering into the United States on H1B, yes.
Okay, like I'm on F1 right now, so
Yeah, I know, I understand, but I want you to understand me.
okay.
If you are going to travel the United States
Mm-hmm.
with the port of entry with the H1B stamping, then you need to pay. Then you just decide how you want to understand it.
Okay.
So I had two questions. One, if the H1 renewal extension it was filed a couple of months ago and it's a regular process, it's not premium. Will there be any impact on the approval of that? Like there is no I-797 approval of the renewal yet, but
I don't know if you heard my conversation. It doesn't affect anybody who is currently in the United States on any
Mm.
petitions.
yeah, and one more question I had is how does this affect H4 dependents? Like if the H1 is within in the United States, but the H4 dependent wants to enter the country.
Again, I'm sorry to repeat again. If you're not on the H1B, any status is not have any effect. H4 is not a H1B, so that there is no effect. Anything that is not covered, anything I already explained, let's not do it. Let's come up with the questions which is not.
Okay. So my question is, my H1B lottery got picked this year. Uh, how is it? Is it going to affect me if I go for stamping in October, or am I safe?
If you are entering the United States with the H1B stamping, yes, it is going to get affected.
But my H1B got picked when I was in the US.
Are you currently in the United States?
Yes.
Therefore, the answer is
Do you not want me to travel? You should not travel to get your stamping.
oh, you probably missed the point, you know. You don't need to have a stamping.
So my H1 got picked. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm on CPT and my H1B got picked. So what's the next process? How am I a legal immigrant here?
So do you have an attorney?
No, I don't.
Oh, you filed yourself the H1B?
I
The
mean, like,
employer
my employer filed H1B for me
okay, without the attorney?
with the attorney, like, with the
Okay,
employer
they will answer you
provided.
better on that. But the answer is, if they already filed the H1B, they should have either filed you the change of status, which you get the I-94 with the H1B approval, or if they filed as a consulate processing, they're going to redo it to the change of status. You don't need to have a stamping to start the H1B from the October 1st.
Okay.
My wife is on H1B and she has pre-booked the ticket to land on USA like 22nd. So I know this is a problem now. but she also have a EB5 EAD along with the payroll. Can she just use EB5 EAD and travel?
Anybody who has a travel permit, advance parole based on the 485 pending, I highly suggest them to use that to enter into the country.
And she needs to have the original copy of the payroll, or she doesn't have the original document, but she has a copy of it.
You need to have an original document because they need to stamp on it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Bhavani, question please.
Hello. Actually, I'm on my STEM OPT right now. So my last, my H1 would be the last chance for the next year. So with this new role, so what could be my, best options. So I have
So
my
you
visa available and, it is valid until next September 2026.
on H1B?
No. Currently, I'm on my F1 student, STEM OPT visa. So I have applied for 2 times lottery, but it could not go through. So I have a next chance, the final one. So with these rules, what could be my best options,
Right now, there is no change in the registration, H1B registration. They will be issuing 30 days before March 1st of 2026. So we just have to see that how the things are going to be for the new regulations for the um, H1B starting for the fiscal year of 2026. Based on what the talks are with the administration right now, they wanted to be focusing on the people who gets the highest level of the wages and proved as a specialty occupation is given more preference. They're trying to take out the registration. We don't know again the exactly what they're going to do. The talks are they want to focus on the people who makes a high level of the salary and high skilled labor.
Yes. So yesterday, adding to your, to your point, so I have seen a post also, somewhere it is coming from the slab from 110,000 to 150. So should I consider that if the people who are following in that slab are, eligible for this lottery, or, people who are below that 110,000 are also eligible or no?
There is no margin. It's all depend upon the location, address, where you are going to be living, and where you're going to be working. And it's a lot of things to be considered. The wage levels are different from every area. If you know anything about the department labor, prevailing wages, LCAs, the people knows that it's all depend upon the zip code where you're going to be working. This is too early to say how the registration is going to be next year, but I think that there is a high chances to get the high level prevailing wage regulation coming soon, even before the end of the year.
Okay. So
That is
is
also
it
applicable to everybody, existing H1Bs and also the new H1Bs if it becomes rule. So for particular questions for you, I don't have any answers. If nothing changes, the lottery system will continue. If there is any changes, we will only know 30 days before the March 1st of 2026.
I abandoned my change of status and came to India. Can I re-enter before October 1st on my F1 visa if my OPT expires in Jan 2026?
You said that you are already abandoned.
Yeah, I abandoned my change of status. Like it was filed under change of status, but I had to come to India.
Yeah, that means that so you did the change of status from what to what?
From F1 to H1. Like they filed under change of status. I have my I-797A, but I had to travel to India due to family emergency.
So
And
you
my
got the
COS is complete.
H1B lottery picked when?
Yes, this year.
Okay.
And it was approved in August.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my I-79A and I came to India because of family emergency. So now can I come back on F1 OPT before October 1st?
Well, they did file the change of status with the H1B approval or later.
With H1B approval.
So if they filed with the H1B after the H1B is approved, they filed
No, like they filed it concurrently, I guess, at the same
together,
time.
right? Together, right?
Yeah, together. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if they file together, The H1B approval should have the I-94 already starting from the October 1st.
Okay, so can I re-enter before October 1st without
No,
stamping?
you need to come only with the H1B
Okay,
because your
thanks.
change of status is already approved with the H1B. I don't know why you think it's abandoned. I don't see abandonment there. If they filed the change of status with the new employment, if it is already approved, that means that your change of status is already approved unless you chose for the consular processing. Okay.
Yeah,
Any
okay,
other
I think
questions?
I think we are at the top of the hour. Only 1
yes,
minute
Kiran
left.
Garu. Yeah.
We can definitely close this. And Madhurima, thank you very much for the sessions. Very timely and very helpful. And
Yep.
we'll connect with other folks and we'll come up with another session pretty soon. When between tomorrow
Yeah,
and the day
we
after,
can
as
have
you said.
something tomorrow or Monday, so
Yep.
we will know that how the implementation is started. I think that will give more ideas for the people who was not in plane. Then we can have some ideas that can they travel anytime soon, or is it something we need to wait? I guess we will get more answers. With the conclusion, all I want to say that this execution is going to be there in action for 1 year unless there will be some changes from the lower courts. This is final for now. And this is not going to affect any way in the shape according to the what the execution looks like for the people who are already in the United States. And if somebody is coming from outside the country, if they're not on the H1B, it shouldn't be affecting them. Only the people it will affect is for the people who is entering as a H1Bs. Okay, so do prepare for that.